Hi guys, this is John. This is the shorter version of my window painting video. I cut out all the parts where I was talking to the camera. I'm just going to do it in post and kind of explain my process. If you didn't watch the first one, it's not a big deal. It's not like it's important to see. You're going to see most of the painting in this video that I did in the other one. If you would like to watch it, feel free. It is 47 minutes long, so maybe it's more something you should put on in the background and ignore for the full time. But I know that if I was watching it, I'd want a shorter version with just the painting and less of the yapping, so that's what this video is. You can kind of see me here drawing the guidelines with a white paint for now. I'm going to go through and draw all of the things that I've got designed up from my initial sketch, and then I'm going to fill them in with white so that I can paint over them with my other colors later. A lot of the colors I'm using today, yellow and the green paint that I have and the red paint that I have, they're very translucent. So that means they're semi-see-through. So if I don't put down white behind them, it's really going to not look very good. They're going to be very dark and you'll see through into the window. So a white base coat underneath just allows those colors to shine a lot nicer. Okay, we did a little jump cut there. Now that the white paint and the base coat has dried, I'm coming back in with some colors. I started with my yellow and red type colors, those warm colors. No particular reason. I just really wanted to start with the orange. And I'm only using the yellow, red, orange type colors on this specific paper plate. So if I have blue or if I have green or anything like that on this plate, the colors are going to mix together and get very muddy. So I try to keep my tones separate. So my warm tones are going to be on this plate. I'll have a plate that's got some green and yellow for like my lime and things like that, and then I'll have a plate that's more blue, more purple, so that they don't mix with each other and get all muddied. This watermelon down here actually wasn't in my initial sketch. Well, the watermelon was, but it wasn't over here. You can't see it right now, but the watermelon was actually up about where my chest is. And when I painted this on the window, I didn't like how blank that space was down there. So I moved my watermelon down, and where my watermelon used to be, I turned into a lime. I think that helped a lot to cover more window. And also, if you look, that's kind of a small section where the lime's going to go. The watermelon's usually pretty big, so I'm kind of glad that I ended up doing that. Alright, here I just switched to my green and yellow palette so that I could get started on that lime and some of these leaves. I'm quite happy with the color that this turned out to be. I didn't buy these colors fresh for this painting, so I kind of had to mix what I already had to make what I wanted, and I really like the colors I was able to get out of these few colors that I had with me. So the flowers in this painting are orange blossoms, and the petals on an orange blossom are white. So when I was coming through to paint this leaf, I decided that I would paint around the blossom petals so that I didn't have any green show through, as opposed to painting it all green and then painting white over the top of it. But it didn't end up too great. But fortunately, because I did that, I could then come back in later and just fix the shape with white instead of having to repaint the whole thing. So, funny story, actually when I designed this window initially, I did the mango the wrong way. I didn't use a reference when I was initially designing it because I thought to myself, oh, I know what fruit looked like. And I did the colors on the mango wrong. I had the red toward the bottom and the green toward the top. So it just goes to show, no matter, even if you're a professional who does this all the time, you should always use reference because nobody's mental library is perfect. Okay, I'm jumping into the blue now. While I'm putting these blueberries down initially, I noticed that they're too light for me, and that's the darkest blue that I have. So I actually mixed some red with it to get a deeper, more purpley blue, and I'm really happy with the result.
I just added all the details, and I came back to turn the video off, and it wasn't recording. Last thing you saw is I put the brown on the stem. I came back in with white, touched up the orange and the lime, did the seeds on the strawberry and the watermelon. I fixed my white flowers. I messed with the stem on the mango some more to make it look a little 3D. Added some details onto the leaves and some highlights. Really sucks, but it's part of the deal, I guess. It happens. I've got to wait for this to dry a little so I can give it a white outline, and then I'll be finished. So I'll check back with you in a few once it's dry.
Unfortunately, mistakes do happen. We missed some of the best footage of this whole painting process, but it is what it is. I looked after the fact, and I think what happened is I got some kind of notification that caused my recording to stop. And I didn't notice because, I was on the other side of the camera. So unfortunately, it is what it is. I brought you over here so I could show the process of the details on this door. So we're going to initially start just like we already saw. I'm going to put the base coats down. And once I get all the base colors down, I'm going to jump straight into the details. Now that my base colors are down, I'm going to go in and add some details. I'm starting with highlights. So I'm highlighting the leaves on my pineapple here. And I'm talking a bit to the camera. But I'm going to come through here and highlight a few things, add the lines to this pineapple, add some highlights to the cherries, and then I'll jump into the shadows. So I'm jumping into shadows now, and a good cheat to make something look like it's in shadow is to just make it closer to blue. So I added some blue to my red, and I've made this purple here so that I could add a shadow to this back cherry. We're going to go ahead and mix up a cool green as well and do the same thing to the leaves on the pineapple. Alright, here we are at the most satisfying part of the process. I'm going to go around and add a white outline to all of my fruit. I've got two brushes for this one that I'm using now for the vast majority of it, and then I also grabbed a slightly smaller brush so that I could get around the little details, mainly just on these blueberries. I think I used the large brush for just about everything else. But my main goal here is to get nice and smooth, consistent strokes. The best method to do that is by using your whole arm for the process. I made a short where I cut out the section where I talked about it in the whole full-length video. But basically, where you hinge at will determine the kind of lines you can make. So if I'm hinging at the wrist, it'll only give me the range that I can reach with my wrist. Whereas if I'm hinging at the shoulder, I've got my entire arm that I can reach to make a nice, smooth, long line. Here you can see my crazy twitchiness while I explain it. We're finished with that big window, so now we've jumped over to the door to do the same thing. I didn't notice at the time, but I'm blocking your view with my plate.
Why didn't you tell me my plate was in the way, people? Come on.
So an outline isn't just to follow what you've already made. When I was making this pineapple, I decided I wanted to do the outline a little bumpy around the pineapple itself. I think it added a lot of detail and helped me define the shape. Alright, we're finished, so I'm going to go ahead and sign it and date it here. I do also spray a sealer over the top of it when I'm finished with the full paint job, but I did not add that here. I'm going to put some photos at the end so you can see the completed job. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, share with your friends, leave a comment, all the YouTube stuff. It really does help my channel. And once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.